An international research group applied methods of theoretical physics to investigate the electromagnetic response of the Great Pyramid to radio waves. Scientists predicted that under resonance conditions, the pyramid can concentrate electromagnetic energy in its internal chambers and under the base. The research group plans to use these theoretical results to design nanoparticles capable of reproducing similar effects in the optical range. Such nanoparticles may be used, for example, to develop sensors and highly efficient solar cells. The study was published in the Journal of Applied Physics. While Egyptian pyramids are surrounded by many myths and legends, we have little scientifically reliable information about their physical properties. As it turns out, sometimes this information proves to be more striking than any fiction. This idea found confirmation in a new joint study by scientists from ITMO University and the Laser Centrum Hanover. The physicists took an interest in how the Great Pyramid would interact with electromagnetic waves of a proportional or, in other words, resonant length. Calculations showed that in the resonant state, the pyramid can concentrate electromagnetic energy in the pyramid's internal chambers as well as under its base, where the third unfinished chamber is located. These conclusions were derived on the basis of numerical modeling and analytical methods of physics. The researchers first estimated that resonances in the pyramid can be induced by radio waves with a length ranging from 200 to 600 meters. Then they made a model of the electromagnetic response of the pyramid and calculated the extinction cross-section. This value helps to estimate which part of the incident wave energy can be scattered or absorbed by the pyramid under resonant conditions. Finally, for the same conditions, the scientists obtained the electromagnetic field's distribution inside the pyramid. In order to explain the results, the scientists conducted a multipole analysis. This method is widely used in physics to study the interaction between a complex object and electromagnetic field. The object scattering the field is replaced by a set of simpler sources of radiation, multipoles. The collection of multipoles radiation coincides with the field scattering by an entire object. Therefore, knowing the type of each multipole, it is possible to predict and explain the distribution and configuration of the scattered fields in the whole system. The Great Pyramid attracted the researchers while they were studying the interaction between light and dielectric nanoparticles. The scattering of light by nanoparticles depends on their size, shape, and refractive index of the source material. Varying these parameters, it is possible to determine the resonant scattering regimes and use them to develop devices for controlling light at the nanoscale. Egyptian pyramids have always attracted great attention. We as scientists were interested in them as well, so we decided to look at the Great Pyramid as a particle, dissipating radio waves resonantly. Due to the lack of information about the physical properties of the pyramid, we had to use some assumptions. For example, we assumed that there are no unknown cavities inside, and the building material with the properties of an ordinary limestone is evenly distributed in and out of the pyramid. With these assumptions made, we obtained interesting results that can find important practical applications, says the scientific supervisor and coordinator of the research. Now, the scientists plan to use the results to reproduce similar effects at the nanoscale. Choosing a material with suitable electromagnetic properties, we can obtain pyramidal nanoparticles with a promise for practical application in nanosensors and effective solar cells, says a member of the Faculty of Physics and Technology of ITMO University. It seems what we have here is yet another scientific discovery that validates the veracity of Zecharia Sitchin's thesis. Let's look at a passage from Tablet 10 in the Lost Book of Enki. Now, this is the account of the new place of the celestial chariots, and the artificed twin mounts and how the image of the lion by Marduk was usurped. In the peninsula by the Anunnaki chosen, the heavenly ways of Anu and Enlil on earth were reflected. Let the new place of the chariots precisely on that boundary be located. Let the heart of the plain the heavens reflect, so did Enlil to Enki suggest. Once Enki to this agreed, Enlil from the skies of distances took measures. On a tablet, a grand design for all to see he marked out. "Let the landing place in the Cedar Mountains be a part of the facilities," he said. The distance between the landing place and the chariot place he measured. In the midst thereof a place for a new mission control center he designated. There a suitable mount he selected, the Mount of Way Showing he named it, a platform of stones akin but smaller than the landing place to be built there he ordered. In its midst a great rock was carved inside and out to house a new bond, heaven-earth it was made, a new navel of the earth, the role of Nibruki before the deluge to replace. The landing path on the twin peaks of Arata in the north were anchored. To demarcate the landing corridor, Enlil, 2 other sets of twin peaks required. To delimit the landing corridor's boundary, ascent and descent to secure. In the southern part of the desolate peninsula, a place of mountains, twin adjoining peaks Enlil selected. On them the southern delimit he anchored. Where the second set of twin peaks was required, mountains there were none. Only a flat land above the water-clogged valley from the ground protruded. Artificial peaks thereon we can raise. So did Ningazita to the leaders say. On a tablet, the image of smooth-sided, skyward-rising peaks for them he drew. "If it can be done, let it so be," Enlil with approval said. "Let them also as beacons serve." On the flat land above the river's valley, Ningazita a scale model built. The rising angles and 4 smooth sides with it he perfected. Next to it a larger peak he placed, its sides to Earth's 4 corners he set. By the Anunnaki with their tools of power were its stones cut and erected. Beside it, in a precise location, the peak that was its twin he placed. With galleries and chambers for pulsating crystals he designed it. When the artful peak to the heavens rose, to place upon it the capstone the leaders were invited. Of electrum, an admixture by Gibbel fashioned, was the apex stone made. The sunlight to the horizon it reflected, by night like a pillar of fire it was. The power of all the crystals to the heavens in a beam it focused. When the artful works, by Ningazita designed, were completed and ready, the Anunnaki leaders the great twin peak entered. At what they saw they marveled. Eker, house which like a mountain is, they named it. A beacon to the heavens it was. That the Anunnaki the deluge survived and prevailed forever it proclaimed. Now the new place of the celestial chariots gold from across the seas can receive. From it the chariots to Nibiru the gold for survival shall carry. From it to the east where the sun on the designated day rises, they will ascend. To it to the southwest where the sun on the designated day sets, they will descend. Then Enlil by his own hand the Nibiru crystals activated. Inside eerie lights began to flicker. An enchanting hum the stillness broke. Outside the capstone all at once was shining brighter than the sun it was. The multitude of assembled Anunnaki a great cry of joy uttered. Ninma, by the occasion moved, a poem recited and sang. House that is like a mountain, house with a pointed peak. For heaven, earth it is equipped, the handiwork of the Anunnaki it is. House bright and dark, house of heaven and earth, for the celestial boats it was put together by the Anunnaki built. House whose interior with a reddish light of heaven glows, a pulsating beam that far and high reaches it emits. Lofty mountain of mountains, great and lofty fashioned, beyond the understanding of earthlings it is. House of equipment, a lofty house of eternity, its foundation stones the waters touch, its great circumference in clay is set. House whose parts are skillfully together woven. The great ones who in the sky circle to a resting make descent. House that for the rocket ships is a landmark with unfathomable insides. By Anu himself is the Eker blessed. Thus did Ninma at the celebration recite and sing. While the Anunnaki their remarkable handiwork were celebrating, Enki to Enlil words of suggestion said, When in future days it will be asked, when and by whom has this marvel been fashioned? Let us beside the twin peaks a monument create. The age of the lion let it announce. The image of Ningazita, the peak's designer, let its face be. Let it precisely toward the place of the celestial chariot's gaze, when by whom and the purpose let it to future generations reveal. So did Enki to Enlil suggest. To the words Enlil consented, and to Enki said. Of the place of celestial chariots, Utu must again the commander be. Let the gazing lion precisely eastward facing with Ningazita's image be. When the work to cut and shape the lion from the bedrock was proceeding, Marduk, to his father Enki words of aggrievement said, To dominate the whole earth to me did you promise. Now command and glory to others are granted. Without task or dominion I am left. In my erstwhile domain are the artificed mounts situated. On the lion the image mine must be. By these words of Marduk, Ningazita was angered. The other sons were also annoyed. By the clamor for domains, Ninurta and his brothers were also aroused. Land for themselves and devoted earthlings everyone was demanding. Let not the celebration a contest become, Ninmah amidst the raised voices shouted. The earth is still in havoc. We Anunnaki are few. Of the earthlings there are only survivors. Let Marduk, Ningazita of the honor not deprive. Let us Marduk's words also heed. So did Ninmah, the peacemaker, to the contending leaders say. For peace to prevail, the habitable lands between us should be apart set, Enlil to Enki said. To make the peninsula an uncontested divider they agreed. To the peacemaker Ninmah they it allotted. Till Moon, land of the missiles, they named it. To earthlings it was beyond bounds. The habitable lands to the east thereof to Enlil and his offspring were set apart. For the descendants of two sons of Sesudra, Shem and Japhet, therein to dwell. The dark-hued landmass that the Abzu included to Enki and his clan was for domains granted. The people of Sesudra's middle son, Ham, to inhabit it were chosen. To make Marduk their lord of their lands the master, Enki to appease his son suggested. By your wish, let it so be, Enlil to Enki about it said. Until Moon, in its mountainous south, an abode for Ninmah his mother Ninurta built. Near a spring with date trees, a verdant valley it was located. The mountain peak Ninurta terraced, a fragrant garden for Ninmah he planted. When all was thus completed, a signal to all outposts on earth was given. From the mountainlands across the ocean whirlwinds the gold nuggets brought. From the place of the celestial chariots to Nibiru the gold was lofted. On that memorable day, Enlil and Enki to each other said and agreed, Let us Ninmah, the peacekeeper, with a new epithet name honor. Ninharzag, mistress of the mountainhead, let us name her. By acclamation was Ninmah the honor given. Henceforth Ninharzag she was called. Praise to Ninharzag on earth the peacekeeper, in unison the Anunnaki proclaimed. So, we can see from this passage that Sitchin long ago derived the real purpose of the Great Pyramid. In fact, once the modern-day physicists add the mathematical variable of a large crystal catalyst into their resonance